Picture this. It's 2:47 a.m. Your room is dark, the world is quiet, but your mind is not. You're lying in bed replaying a conversation from 3 days ago. The way you said, okay. The way they blinked, that half-second pause before they replied. You zoom in on that moment like it's crime scene footage. Did you sound rude, awkward, too emotional? You rewrite the scene in your head 10 different ways, but the past stays the same. And your brain refuses to move on. If this feels uncomfortably familiar, you might already suspect the truth. You're not just thinking, you're overthinking. I'm Alex, and this is my aquatic co-host.
Gigglefish. Currently drowning in thoughts, please send help.
Today we explore what it really means to be an overthinker, the hidden psychology behind it, and 10 signs that your brain might be doing far more work than it needs to. Because overthinking isn't just thinking too much. It's like having a brain that doesn't know where the brakes are. Let's start with something simple and painfully real. Imagine you finish a normal day. Nothing dramatic, nothing special. But as soon as you get a quiet moment, your mind opens a highlight reel of everything that could be wrong with me and my life. Extended edition. One of the clearest signs of overthinking is this. You constantly replay past situations in your head. You go over conversations again and again, analyzing every word, every pause, every micro-expression. Psychologists call this rumination. It's like mental chewing gum. You keep chewing the same piece, but it never turns into anything useful.
Zero flavor, infinite anxiety. Not a great deal.
Maybe you find yourself lying awake thinking, why did I say that? Did they think I was weird? Should I have answered differently? Your brain behaves like a lawyer in court, presenting evidence against you. And you never get to leave the trial. The second sign flows right out of the first. If you're an overthinker, you don't just replay the past, you also pre-play the future. You run endless simulations in your mind of things that haven't happened yet. You picture what could go wrong in a test, a date, a job interview, a text message. You imagine awkward silences, rejection, embarrassment, failure.
Basically, your brain is a full-time disaster movie studio. No budget limit.
This is called catastrophizing. Instead of seeing the future as a range of possibilities, your mind zooms straight into the worst-case scenario and builds a whole emotional reality around it. Your heart races for a problem that doesn't even exist yet. Now, here's another sign that often hides under the label of, I'm just being careful. Overthinkers struggle to make decisions, even small ones. You might spend 20 minutes deciding what to order, or days deciding what message to send, or weeks debating a choice that other people make in 5 minutes. It's not because you're lazy or incapable. It's because your brain turns every decision into a test of your entire identity and future. What if I regret it? What if it's the wrong choice? What if there was a better option and I missed it? Psychologically, this is tied to perfectionism and a fear of making mistakes. Your mind treats every path like a permanent tattoo, not a pencil sketch.
Meanwhile, the ice cream you were choosing is now melted.
So we already have 3 signs. You constantly replay the past, you catastrophize the future, and you get stuck in decision paralysis. But there's another place where overthinking loves to show up, at night. If your mind seems to wake up when your body wants to sleep, that's the 4th sign. You lie in bed and your thoughts speed up, not slow down. Your brain reopens emotional files from the day, random memories from years ago, fears about the future, things you said, things you didn't say. There's a reason this happens. When external noise goes down, internal noise gets louder. The parts of your brain involved in self-reflection and imagination, especially the default mode network, become more active when you're not focused on a specific task. For an overthinker, that network isn't a cozy resting mode. It's a haunted house.
Open all night. No tickets, just intrusive thoughts.
Another sign hides in social situations. Overthinkers often analyze people like puzzles. You don't just hear what someone says, you dissect it. You replay their tone, their expressions, the length of their pauses. You might think, they said they're fine, but that fine sounded like a "I'm secretly mad at you" fine. This is the fifth sign. You overinterpret other people's reactions and assume that something is wrong with you. Psychologically, this is often linked to social anxiety and a strong sensitivity to rejection. Your brain is trying to predict danger, emotional danger, by scanning for the tiniest clues. The problem is, in trying so hard to be safe, you end up feeling constantly unsafe.
It's like living with an internal "are they mad at me?" radar that's always beeping.
Along with that radar comes the sixth sign. You frequently seek reassurance, but it never really sticks. You might ask a friend, "Are you sure you're not upset?" Or, "Do you think I did okay?" Or, "Was that weird?" For a moment, their answer calms you down. But after a short while, the doubt comes back, like waves returning to the shore. This happens because reassurance treats the symptom, not the root. If your brain doesn't trust you, no amount of external "it's fine" will feel truly solid. So you stay stuck in a loop. Anxiety, reassurance, temporary relief, anxiety again.
Like putting a band-aid on a volcano. Stylish, but not effective.
Another sign, number 7, is that tiny problems feel huge inside your head. You send a message and don't get a reply for a few hours. And your mind writes an entire story about why. They're angry. They're bored. They've replaced you. You embarrassed yourself. In reality, they might just be busy, tired, or charging their phone in another room. This blowing things out of proportion comes from the way your brain gives meaning to events. Your mind doesn't just ask, "What happened?" It jumps to, "What does this mean about me?" And that's where self-esteem, old emotional wounds, and fear of abandonment quietly step in and grab the microphone.
Spoiler, they are terrible storytellers. Very dramatic.
The 8th sign is almost invisible from the outside, but exhausting from the inside. You struggle to be fully present, even when your body is in one place. Your mind is somewhere else. You could be at dinner, in class, at a party, on a walk, and yet you're mentally trapped in a scenario that happened earlier, or one that might happen later. It feels like you're living life with a constant layer of mental subtitles over everything. Psychologists sometimes describe overthinking as being caught in your head instead of in your life. Your attention is pulled away from your senses and into your stories. You're not really tasting the food, hearing the music, or feeling the air. You're busy wrestling with your thoughts about yourself.
Reality is streaming in HD, and you're stuck rewatching your own anxious fan edits.
As this goes on, something very predictable happens. Your brain gets tired. That's the 9th sign. Mental and physical exhaustion with nothing to show for it. You feel drained, foggy, or emotionally heavy, not because you ran a marathon, but because your brain has been sprinting for hours on a treadmill of what-ifs and should-haves. Overthinking consumes cognitive resources. Your working memory, your attention, your emotional energy all get burned on loops instead of action. You think so much about what you want to do, say, or change that you have no strength left to actually do.
The brain battery is at 3%, but somehow still scrolling.
Which leads us straight into the 10th sign. You often delay action because you think you need just a little more clarity first. You might say, I'll text them when I'm sure what to say, or I'll start when I've figured out the perfect plan, or I'll decide after I think about it a bit more. But a bit more turns into days, weeks, sometimes months. Overthinking gives you the illusion of control, as if thinking enough will guarantee safety, zero embarrassment, zero regret. In reality, avoiding decisions is also a decision, and it quietly shapes your life just as much as the choices you consciously make.
Plot twist. Not choosing is also choosing. The universe does not pause the game.
So if you've heard yourself in these signs, the constant replaying of the past, the disaster previews of the future, the decision paralysis, the sleepless racing mind, the social overanalysis, the endless reassurance seeking, the tiny things feeling huge, the struggle to stay present, the deep exhaustion, the procrastination disguised as thinking it through. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means your brain has been trying very hard to protect you, but it's using a strategy that backfires. You might have learned to overthink because, at some point, being hyper-aware or overly cautious felt safer. Maybe you grew up being criticized a lot, so now you scan everything you do. Maybe you experience sudden changes or emotional shocks, and now your brain tries to predict everything so nothing can surprise you again. Maybe you simply care deeply, and caring turned into controlling.
Your brain is like an overprotective parent who loves you, but also really needs a vacation.
The important key to remember is this. Thinking is a tool, not a prison. You're allowed to question your thoughts. You're allowed to say, this is just my anxious brain talking, not objective reality. You're allowed to stop in the middle of a mental spiral and ask, is this helping me right now? In the rest of this journey, we'll explore how to gently step out of the overthinking cycle, how to work with your mind instead of fighting it, and how to give yourself permission to live a little more in the moment and a little less in the mental storm. But for now, I want to leave you with a simple reflection. Think of one area in your life where your thoughts feel the loudest. Is it relationships? School? Your future? Your appearance? Just notice it. That's the first quiet step toward change. Awareness without judgment.
Step 1. Notice the chaos. Step 2. Don't bully yourself for having it. Step 3. Stick around for the next episode.
And I'd love to hear from you. When does your mind tend to overthink the most? At night? In social situations? Before decisions? Share your experience in the comments. You might realize you're far less alone than your thoughts make you feel. If this helped you feel seen, or gave you words for something you couldn't explain before, it would mean a lot if you hit like, maybe share this with a friend who lives in their head a bit too much, and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive into the psychology of your mind. Until then, breathe. Let one thought pass without chasing it, and remember, you are not your overthinking. You're the one who notices it.